tactical demo.
I mean, this is right up our street, isn't it?
Oh,
G2 secrets.
When you get inter-region games, you obviously get them at this point in the tournament.
They obviously don't want to play against the Shield and Gezzly.
Oh! Well, Mowgli opens up. Actually, elsewhere, Loira was just trying to farm some clips, but in the meantime, he's already been put to bed. That is no smoke. The first loss, and the Shields are already off to the races. Loira's able to find Adrian. They're going to charge their way up towards the top of red, and the player is just going to try and get out of there before suddenly they're entirely surrounded. The impact will get some impact with Stompin having the cover over the shoulder, and it's turned into a little bit of a bloodbath here at the top of the stairs. Does have the utility that you mentioned. They're very good at using it, but now they've got to try and break their way against it. Held at bay. Remembering the site is down in the basement, this top floor is just a back and forth brawl. Mowgli drives in, Stompin pushes right back against them, and at this point, a 3 versus 2. But replaced, and they've got themselves a bit of a split push. It's a question I'll come back to you in a second on Oscar before this comes together. Do you double up or you just try and find the isolation? There's the first cross, there's the first end, that is the first round.
I think that round is perfect.
In good positions.
No,
but it
Loira quite get him. The second one will probably get the end of him. No, somehow survives. Doki gets Mowgli as well. There goes the Grim. The Monty's a little bit cornered, but you don't want to try and hit the high rope because otherwise we'll probably going to get caught from elsewhere. More flashes, more burn, but there needs to be something else to support this at this point, and they're kind of just stuck looking for the cross angle on CC. It feels like they're missing something, but hey, sometimes when you're hoping and praying, those get answered.
Loira, I don't think he needed to stand up, but Doki, what a great pick, just swings onto the players in Garage. Savage doesn't know what to do. Does he unshield? Does he play for the kill? He thinks, oh, I'm just going to keep feeding that information, but somebody needs to kill this guy. Doki just been allowed to stay up here for far too long.
Well, he unshielded for a second, and that bought another bit of space, but Adrian almost suffered the same fate in his teammates, and now anywhere secret, they could try and tuck in close on towards the half wall, but instead they've just got to drive because of the bulletproof. They're pushing themselves further and further. They just took the territory, refused to play the game in the bulletproof, and Alamau, can he get the stop? He's swinging his way around. He can't quite find the player. He's a second too late. Adrian.
Oh my god.
Just clutches in.
Entry player, we know if he needs to be. Putting Loira under a lot of pressure, but Loira on the vigil. Going to be immune to the bees, but you can see right now, Austria have got onto it. They can see the scanner from below.
You can see they're trying to just force the play out. The flash has gone towards the top of red, and that's going to at least get rid of the shield, but can they catch the player? No, it does go down, but Stompin and Loira on a piece, puts us into the 4 versus 3. Still trying to find a fight through the floorboards with the boss G, but unfortunately, it seems like there's nobody that wants to try and step up to the boss. Instead, it's another fight on red, and it's one that Doom can win, level things out 3 apiece until Doki has a say and look, instantly fall away. They've done the damage. Wow, the heavy util starts to pop. We can hear the smoke and we can see the smoke. Doki hits the door hard and, well,
and over he
goes, but I mean, that's Doki.
It's good info. I mean, you know, Savage is just out in the windows now, so I think for the 1v2 to be played, just a trade game here for the 2 Brazilians on G2. Savage will pick up the kit and does get smoked off, and he just has to pick. Does he go bedroom or does he go in towards Logi? And Logi is where he's going to go. Shotgun close from Alamau. Good smoke, and there's the boss G. Loira nails him as he...
Mowgli's about to find a fight immediately. The Candela rolls out from the hatch. The pre-throw in C4 doesn't quite get the landing, but Stompin has the glasses and the gun to back it up. Looks for the second. He's just pre-firing the angle, but think of the time, think of the players, and think of the third, because he's going to try and find a fourth instead. Keep sending it, Stompin! Absolutely pockets all of them. The king of the game seems to be the statement here from Doki, but if he can make an ace, he might be Lord Emperor sooner rather than later. He's got a second to spare, but instead, they're just going to try and drive onto the site. You assume the pressure's going to come whether he goes up or down. Hello, Clash. Hello, Stompin!
That's king.
A little bit more of a rougher position if he wants to try and maneuver around that.
I mean,
he doesn't care.
Oh, he doesn't care. Swings out wide, gets Savage, gets the Twitch gone. The grenades will roll through, and they do get the pick as the trade, a very important stat. But you can see the smokes stop and cover the breach and waiting just in case he gets a chance.
I think it's also to note that this time, Secret, they do have the hard breach, so they can go and open up in towards that rafters wall. Jum has been able to find a pit. He was lurking inside a stock for a good old period, and like I said, open up the wall. They can now try and work this plan. Adrian has the diffuser in his hand. Oh, the top is going to stall him out ever so slightly. Lura going aggressive. Look at this rotate from Blams, though. Will they have any idea he's playing close to the bridge? No, they don't. Blams picks up one. No, looks away at the wrong moment. Noah able to get the trade.
They're driving themselves in towards the site, get rid of the BP and get themselves planted unknown, but underneath, that's where the danger players are. The impact is impactless as they can't quite get the angle. Instead, swung up red, but only to meet their end, and now it's double down. Secret finally find the end. And he's going to see if he can try and start to clock in for a shift. No, not quite yet. We are on Mowgli time still, and Mowgli almost gets time for...
Stomping posted up right now, using that shield to lock down that gym window.
Question is, they've sort of left the kit behind, yeah, but then they just throw themselves in towards the site. Adrian's suddenly gone for the recollection demo.
Lovely play, though, using the Flores drone to move him away from that mattress into the open arms of Adrian. Yeah, gets that kill back that's needed, and now they're going to try and target that Clash via the Flores, but guess what? Clash has legs and can simply walk away.
I've heard a rumor that Clash had legs. I get to see it in action, and that's crazy. They're still sending the Flores in. They have to try and time this together. I'm wondering what other... It's a utility they want to pocket or just force this player out of the bathroom. Couldn't quite get the catch, but you can see a bit of a rotate. Mowgli's in behind the kit, but he's instantly smoked out away from it, and instead, almost finds a sliver of a fight, but he just keeps driving to Blaz. Blaz picks up one, the 3 versus 2, and now that Clash just becomes infinitely more powerful, but instead Adrian is going to try and send one way, Savage gets the other, and now another 2 versus 2, but with 10 seconds before it becomes the 1 versus 2, they're going to head down and hope for the best. They've hit the pipe, buy themselves some time on the door, so they can't quite cross that path and get the down. Savage has the perfect cover, and now Stompin puts us into another clutch or die situation, and he almost gets Savage on the way out the window, but the shield, so powerful, so movable, and look how far away that they're going. Savage, he's gone really, really distance on it.
Oh,
he can
no.
just sort of get caught.
No.
He can't make it in time. He's not going to be able to get the catch on it. You can see he's panicking, but at this point, Stompin is cool as ice.
Oh, Savage!
The first one is from a 4-2 on that sort of side. Obviously, we talked about this map. Demo said Secret, we're a bit surprised that...
We only got 2 defenses. So,
right. I didn't want to mention it. I didn't want to mention it.
But yeah, they'll be...
Some takeaways on these operator removals.
The Cade...
Oh, no!
Nice shot.
Okay, I'll come back to your point because I think I need to talk about this game right now. We're hoping for a bait, but it's actually able to slip their way through behind the case and go for the plant itself. Watch. They've got the cross. They've made sure that nobody can get across this divide, but they almost let it slip. They do get the plant. They do get the planter, and now they've just got Stompin. Once again, how many times will we be in this situation? But can we make it 3 for 3 on his impressive tally so far? Holding. And he's about to be held by what he worked so brilliantly before. There's that Clash. She's making a quick route up towards the top. Noah is waiting as well. The Clash is putting all this pressure on. Stompin, though. He gets Noah and he just gets out of there. And now what do you do? At this point, do you drop down, hope you can get the defuse in time? They're going to be able to play the verticality. They're hoping he doesn't have the angle. But Stompin just seems so on top of it all.
Towards top red, you can see that shield to defend said player. Stompin has got the nade, but he needs to go ahead and say that, yeah, the util is cleared away before he goes for it. And there we go. The shield is gone. And Alamau with the pickup. And another. Oh, my word. Mowgli, you don't hear the Blackbeard running at you?
Wow, they can't hear much more else. It's a 3 versus 3, though. They've gone for the retake, and suddenly they're in a bit of a tight spot here. There's a bit of damage being done. Savage in an aggressive position, but still a swing back up top red in a 2 versus 2. But Adrian and Savage, they did their best to save the missing man, and since then, now you want this to go again. G2 now. Onto the next angle, and I know everything is going to be a challenge, but you can see the position there aggressively. Adrian held himself on the other side of the bed and leaves. Alamau in a 1 versus 2 to push this one on towards map point. He can't quite get the right angle. He's not quite sure where he's sort of supposed to be looking. It's just about a barrel of 2 guns.
That's the power of the fullback.
On the far side of the map with Stompin with the kit rotating under, sort of over the top, back and forth. Especially Mowgli, that gets Alamau the 4 versus 2 1.
Wow.
Okay, it's done.
I will say...
At what point would you want a timeout called if you were in G2's shoes?
I think you could afford one more.
Comes through and they're just kind of making a statement here.
Yeah, I think it's not really sure where they want to go. And oh! Savage just about a foot. He maybe missed this opportunity, but just about gets there. And there's Loira ready with the pickup. Out on his own, in towards that top floor, gets that trade. Savage has been dealt with, but still there is that presence from Secret. Never mind, they went direct. Alamau is in, he's using that Blackbeard.
Well, that's it. As soon as they got the read, there was a bit of space. They're going to see if they can try and double down on it. They've got the two players inside the site, and site is now theirs, but Doom hits the floor, leaves just Noah alone in a 1 versus 4. Caught from the top of the hatch, almost catches the side of Loira, but they had the cross and the watch, and that moves G. Oscar, do you go, maybe we need to go elsewhere?
Well, they could use the Ing here.
Well, they can't anymore. You shouldn't have said that because now they're able to get a double kill here. Mowgli and June just drive forward and go for the retake. There goes Stompin. Maybe they tried to cook for a little bit too long. Alamau. All that's left is got behind them, but they know where he is and they're sort of watching and waiting and pre-firing on towards it. There's one. There's no more there, Demo. Go for the drop. The Deimos will wait for the first ping, goes for the second. He's just going to play around a very narrow angle here, but they know about each other. Or just knows a little bit.
This extension in towards Jim and Bedroom at the moment. That they're going to try and fight against.
Let's see if they can push their way up, but Doom knocks them right back down. There's a 4 versus 4. They've tried to lead as they continue, but at this point now they've just lost that Deimos and lost Loira and almost lost someone else, but Alamau can just make the connection. 4 versus 3. Position. He's going back and forth, but again, think of the site.
The drone work is impeccable right now for G2. They know exactly where these Secret players are. A great collapse as well from Blaz, and he's ready for a second, because again, the information is there. Look how clinical it is from G2.
Well, a 4 versus 1. Noah, with not much more health, is going to have to try and pull this one together. The plan is being secured. Gets the first. Doesn't want to get swung on by the second, and unfortunately can't prevent it. That is G2 winning, and Oscar, that was your first time casting. How was that?
It was very enjoyable.
On the map that they have selected, being Consulate, and now Consulate. This is a good old while ago, all the way back on the 8th of November.
Holding, waiting and hoping. Stompin, who had such a strong first map, might be the lead-in, but instead, it's Doom. Checking the main man out of the front of the reception desk. They still have the protection of being swung on. Savage is there in a position to just keep putting this threat, and as soon as they put their head round, that's going to happen. Sort of just fed into the double side. Adrian's going to get the pickup. Mowgli has the cross onto 1. Loira gets 2, but Mowgli being leveled levels things up. Loira will have to ace this one out and can't even get back to reload his guns.
Almost for Loira's right now, and just see if they can try and kind of stem the push coming in towards that side. However, Mowgli is kind of lurking around bottom spiral for quite a while, able to pick up Loira. Now that means Alamau all by himself. Look at this from Mowgli. Oh, what a jump out. Stompin completely caught by surprise. Alamau is there with the obvious trade, but still the damage has been done. Mowgli good for 2.
Didn't really expect it there, and would you? At that point went so far, Alamau was able to de-shield and get the catch on the split, but now, as soon as he goes for this pitch, there's a player behind him. He's got to make sure he keeps the pressure hot. Unfortunately, he's found nobody but Adrian. Pops his way around the corner. Blaz does find Doom for the 2 versus 3. 50 seconds, and now it is only Doki left. He's going to see if he can isolate the one man that's stuck in the corner, but nobody's swinging on the back of it. Goes for the cross, but the cross had him. Secret. 2 rounds of catch, and the problem might be Noah's now got himself tucked in, and Mowgli tucks another one out. Stomp it, gone. There's 2 more. There's the safety and the catch from below. They're just going to try and charge the Monty here. Why not? Get him either side. You can see the surround. Someone goes down. Adrian's caught out, and so does Doom, but now it's just Blaz left standing. Loira was found out. They know exactly where he is because the default was still up, and they should be able to at least get Loira back to his feet at 3 versus 2.
Yeah, the issue is it's the kit. Nowhere near them. They're going to have to try and fight against the 2 players who have stacked up on said diffuser, and now Mowgli even taking the more aggressive stance, and whenever he is in the flow state, this is the confidence that he has. I mean, I wouldn't be surprised. Yeah, he's going to go for the jump out, going to go for the kill, and he gets it. And this is where Mowgli...
Great control of the intel game as well. G2 look a bit lost, even though we talked about their ban.
They're all quiet at the moment. Selma trying to make that entrance, but no! Surely it's got to be the Mistron, because there's no way you'd swing into that if you...
There was a mystery, and I mean, you could see the positioning of Doom, right? Doom stepped up, drew attention with the C4, peeled back via the coffin side, and suddenly they were just beelined onto one by 5. Knocked out, swings around with the pistol and hopes for the best, but, well, one shield hasn't quite worked. Maybe 2 later on. Mowgli finds himself 1 more for the round, and Doki just keep tacking him to his tally. Mowgli. Statement is some support coming through. They didn't quite get the bite of Noah, but they're still going to try and move in. Bit of damage done towards the shoulder of Doki, but the C4 of Adrian from below finishes off the tip of the spear, and why not snap the rest of the stick as well here, Demo. 5 versus 3. Loira, well, no Loira, just stomping and Plaz. And I mean, G2, the timeout already.
For a trade game, they just have to try and land their shots, and nobody from G2 has really been doing that in this map.
Well, Noah gets the catch on towards Stompin, and Blaz left alone. He was handed a clutch earlier, and surely not again, but there's at least the first, and I've got to cast it like it's always possible, because to be fair, as we've seen, it always is. But with a single C4 and with none of them opting towards the fight, it seems like it's more just time to talk, and Secret, time for 5 rounds.
It's a no from me.
It's a no from, I think, anyone of Secret as well, to get themselves now into the 5 versus 4 versus 4. Noah has been caught. Alamau has been able to get a trade out. Well, he gets in the building, but as Doki suffers next, there's Doom getting the spray down. There's Savage getting on towards Stompin, and hey, maybe Leo is onto something.
In towards Spiral Stairs, Adrian just holds firm, and Alamau, he just has to sit there and wait, but he's lost the Blaz now. This is where everyone can just start coming back to site if they want to, but really, if you're Secret, why would you do that? Go and get your kill. G2 are ripe for the picking. Mowgli is on 14 kills, maybe 15, no! Alamau puts an end to that.
And he might be able to isolate at least this engagement, but the chances plant, right? And as he fires one side, fires the other, he can't quite get it nailed on. Look at the verticality, and there's someone to his right down the corridor as well. That is a flawless half, and this brings me actually to have got beyond 3 rounds for a long, long time. Nothing that I can
talk. But Alamau will deliver. Man up against Secret. And Mowgli slips his way up, takes just immediate control. Oh, and what a pick! Look at who he's been able to take out. I was going to mention about the time that you said. The Tachanka, you've got rid of the big issue, the glaring issue for Secret was...
Goes for the deep flashes on towards the swing from the reception desk. This is going to be that pressure, and how aware are they? Quite aware as the first falls, but Alamau battles back, and there's Loira popping in and can't quite get to Mowgli. Still putting the pressure on, almost catches another, but 10 seconds, it's 2 versus 2 and no kit. They're going to see if they can try and take this to the firing line. Noah sitting, watching, waiting, commiserating a loss as a pistol tries to drive its way across. There's going to be a swing round either side. Can't quite get it in time. Does find one for his trouble. But
final one. Savage, I think, in a great position here in towards Spiral, but he has to wait for his teammates to support him before he makes that maneuver in towards the front desk. Doki, though, will go aggressive onto Savage and takes the kill.
It's the first time G2 have been able to get that opening kill throughout the entirety of this map, and well, it comes against a perfect time. There goes Savage, there goes Doom, and Mowgli might be about to pop off. Blaz finally finds a way to end around without him getting a kill, but Noah is at least there to get some revenge. However, the reception desk is not very welcoming, and well, he might want to turn around and leave. There is obviously a bit of a down done on towards Loira. He's back up and in a 4 versus 1 with full awareness on where Noah is. And fine, he has a little bit of utility, but he has a lot to try and smash his way through. And no kit. You can see the sort of rebuild here. The positions G2 getting themselves in trade situations, getting themselves covered. They still have the verticality.
Wow.
Oh, they
Great
also
shot.
have the round 2.
This is where the mind games, hopefully, will play through them. And the bomb peak! Oh! No! Alamau! And look who he's been able to...
He's going to hold and wait. Moving through the beepers, baits the sound, but not quite swung on as of yet. Instead, the players have left, and Adrian gets the pinch on towards Doki, and suddenly it's all popping up Secret. Alamau and Stompin now, all holding on towards G2's hope of locking this off in just 2 maps. But as they drive and thrive their way in, Demo, the smoke will buy a second.
Yeah, but it's only just going to buy a little bit of time. Look at the clock. Less than 2 minutes, which is just so much time, and Alamau tries to make the play, but Noah is there to stop it.
Well, the man who defined the first map has to try and define maybe one of the best clutches of the tournament. A 1 versus 4 against Secret on Consulate. And the Secret seem to be a play and a bait of we know what you're thinking, we're thinking further thoughts, and those are, we want to lock this one off right now. Secret bounce back from disappointment on map 1 to a very strong map 2.
There.
We were there.
You seen an ace from the king? You seen an ace from the king?
It's lasted over the year.
Yeah, I think actually Leo, I think for Blaz. Can he get out of there? No, the leg! Oh, down goes Blaz!
And he can hear the drone rolling out, but how confident is he that he hasn't been caught by it? He's about to find the first engagement. He waits and baits and removes just one Mowgli. Massively important reaction there to ensure that didn't
push him, don't forget.
They have to, and he's just turning this into a bit of a bunker. And the 4 versus 3, as long as he can keep it, as long as he can. When you look at the Goyo on the door, and they waste time, and players Doom caught out by the swing. And look, you can see Secret, I'm not going to say panicking, but starting to try and put the pedal to the metal and hope they don't get caught in a crossfire, because G2 so rampant going for those swings, and the width is something they enjoy, but Noah enjoys killing Doki. 3 versus 2. 20 seconds and the fire starts to pop alongside the smoke itself. They're swinging their way around on the rotate on towards the hatches itself, and you can see G2, they're trying to work out exactly where the kit is going planted. It's over the top towards main stairs. They're going to try and go full sprint, full send, and full to the back, but they were ready for it. Lyra! All 3 is a delicious feast for the demon.
Being one of them, that's why they've opened up the long angle over towards Kanto, and this is so close for Lyra. No, away at the wrong time, and Adrian picks them up. Now it's a 3v5. If Secret can just go step by step.
Before, and as we enter this final minute, will we have it time and time again as it cyclically repeats itself? It's Doki that starts to make things feel a bit worrying, but they make sure they keep the pressure up as Doki doubles down. Somehow finds a second Doom though, with the Deimos has a bit of a response. He's doing his best, popping up and trying to put the players down on the singular approach. As Alamau gets himself a third though, it's suddenly a 2 versus 2. And that sort of tragedy starts to pop in. Both take scraps of damage, both trying to reposition on the side of meeting, and both seemingly being pinged out by that intel game, but the intel reads that Doki's down, and just in the 2 versus 1, 20 seconds, Alamau, his time to step up, but Secret put him down.
And the big old flank, where's the hit from Blaz? Is able to try but pressure, but he gets killed doing so.
They're expecting a double down, but instead it's a rotate round. Aggression on the front, the smoke is slowing them, but look above. The Buck is trying to find an angle, and the aggressive trade out will come together. It's a close fight against the Blackbeard. Not quite sure what that interaction was, but it wasn't anything G2 like. Secret, they pull themselves.
I mean, for G2, I thought they were in a good position with the
Lyra triple kill that was able to pull this one together, but aided, as you said, by the third man. The shield will make this a little bit of an easier route. You can hear the bees start to come down. Lyra starts to pop off again, but it's Doki that doubles down, and a stuck man in the bottom of an elevator will G2 swarm, lock him out and stop him going anywhere. But Noah, a saving grace, saves the face of one and catches Stompin'.
Jum in a great position now to try and hold on to that garage player. Oh, and Blaz is none the wiser. There's an angle onto him, and he walks straight into it.
3 versus 2. They have the long watch across both sites here, and they're going to see if they can try and get themselves gathered and go for the plant tucked in towards B. But Lyra, 2 canisters could be the slow, and oh no! He won't be able to do anything else this round, as instead Secret slam their way to the fight, but Doki drops the man with the shield. 30 seconds. You can see the width, 1 on gold, 1 in the site itself. They're going to see if they can maybe just try and get the cover. They can hold the crosses. I don't know what entirely he's going for, but it's nothing. As Noah threads that narrow angle.
Well, again, for Secret, it's just that step by step. Just go through the motions, just work G2 for all they're worth.
Oh, a lot of damage done, and Alamau, all that's left, they've just pieced them apart, and brick by brick, you might say you build a build, but the building's been blown. It's been pushed
to split. But Secret, the confidence that they have, they'll be looking for that 5-1. Doki, opening pick goes his favor, and look at this look at this from G2. This is better. Take the fight to Secret. Don't let them set up. It's something that Adrian Looking to see if he can just find a few picks outside that copy window, but right now for G2, just sit in your hands, you have that man advantage. Mowgli has made a big old play in for open area, the forward can't get hit him, but it doesn't matter.
How long of a day it has been here for G2. They were faced with hours later on from an earlier showdown. The chance at hucking grenades in and hoping they can get the piece pulled apart. The C4 out the door does not catch anybody. Again, they have another fire canister they could pop, which sounds like they did. Mowgli does pop one. There's the trade back. Stomping, swings out, gets revenge, and gets some pressure on towards servers. Now, that player on those stairs is massively surrounded. Doom, how long can he hold on for? Can he get one? Do they even know they've dropped down? Yeah, they seem to do as they're either side of him. No, back in. Stomping's going to push on. Instead, it's all the focus. There's the fire, there's the swing, and there's not quite a catch. He doubles down. Doing all he can to keep G2 on the up and on the pressure.
And this is where Alamau on the Otter comes in big. Just set the shield up, you can go for the plant. There's no C4s, there's no impacts, these shields will remain. All they really have is just to flame them off via the Tachanka, so that's the operator expecting to put pressure on.
Well, here's the coverage, here's the swing, and here's the attempt at the plant. But Tachanka, Adrian, buddy, there's stuff going on the other side, and he's blinded. Just as he went for the fight itself, lost the man. Loira finds his own in the meantime, and well, this one has pieced itself apart. G2 in one of the hardest plant retakes. Noah here. And he's going to go up because what else do you have? He's going to try and find his first engagement in open. Does he know about stomping? No is the answer. G2. 2 rounds in a row.
The map of Bank, which sometimes through those windows can be a little bit dangerous. We know a shield covering your face does help things out. And oh, look at that swing from Savage. There was no cover from the windows. He just walks up to the breach and he kills.
They can get rid of those just as quick as they appear, and that's the game that Secret have to hold on to. Here's the coverage. Will there be any pressure on the side of it? As I said, they're happy to swing and even happier to find results, but Mowgli now retakes this cross. They have either side the pinch, and he just has to not give himself on towards Stomping. But again, this kit position, they're all around it. They're everywhere, Demo.
They have to try and get a move on and find these players. The Doki call goes in. Doki looking for the creep up in towards Janner. Savage finds another. Doki now makes himself known. The DMR now. Savage with a drop shot. Free for him in the round, and Stomping all by himself. 15 seconds, walks into the Elamine and walks into his demise. Savage, good for 4.
Locked down and Ella, Mowgli. He's under a little bit of pressure, but he's surrounded by friends in a nice place, and it's actually the drive from the Deimos underneath that locks it in. But there's the first. Adrian gets on towards one, and there's the fight, but Mowgli won it out. Instead, he was making his motion, but instead, they've just entirely been rebuffed. A 5-2. Stomping does find Mowgli, gets revenge, but I'm sure he'll be very happy with what he's done this round already. Off the top rope, the top stairs, and through Doki. Now on towards the quad wall. Again, they just tried to slip the kid in, but as soon as you hit that mine behind them, top blue, they're in a position to swing on. Stomping gets one, but Savage doubles down. And
Secret to keep the
start to, feel that energy, let him drive, let him get into these positions he likes, and hope that follow-throughs can come. But there's Mowgli. Gets Doki, gets that Deimos, gets that response, drifts his way back into open, makes them have to check and recheck. They know somebody's at the back end of garage, and they're so tempted to see if they can try and make friends with them. But as the swing comes out, they actually survive. Luckily, Loira are almost ready to rip the head off of Noah. There's not much left of him already. They double stack. They swing it out, and Adrian cements himself for 2. Can they swing wide? It's a rush down green. There's a trade back and forth. Main is on its position. Stomping still around, hanging and hoping he can get the swing round, but he's pushed further back. Secret, no. They can push a 2 versus 1, but instead hits on towards the other side. Blaz with the Vault Hatch drop right into a Fenrir. A minute, Demo. A minute might separate G2's run. It's a close fight, but it's Stomping's connection to make. The 2 versus 2, bitterly built across the Bank basement. But there's another one for Noah. And here's Secret sit in the 2 versus 1. Blaz with a massive clutch earlier wants to try and add another towards that list. Another to his day and another bit of hope for G2. But on the side, fighting like heroes is not enough. This is not G2's story to tell. It's Secrets demo, and they are here to make their own mark.